Welcome to the Socially Unfiltered podcast,
where we'll be taking you along for our deep dives and doom scrolls through social media, entrepreneurship, and pop culture.
We're your hosts, Lex and Veronica, and together we're looking at everything through an unfiltered lens on the things that shape our everyday lives and society.
So grab a drink and get ready to explore the uncharted territories of online trends, share candid conversations, and uncover the stories behind the headlines.
This is the Socially Unfiltered podcast.
We had to get our 45-minute debrief.
I know. We just had to yap for a little bit.
I know most of that we probably should have just said on here, but I didn't feel like it fit the theme for today.
I know. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of podcast shit.
Yeah, because we're one.
We're one. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us.
Oh,
yeah.
Bugs. Ruining the vibe.
He's singing happy birthday.
Oh my God, I forgot we have our little birthday video where we ate our cake.
Oh yeah, we made a birthday cake 3 months ago when we were 9 months old.
We made a gluten-free Funfetti birthday cake.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so fucking good. And then you shipped me some. Well, not that whole cake, but the
yeah, not the whole cake. No, just the box, the mix.
The mix. She shipped me the cake. First class. Yeah, so our 1 year, I literally can't fucking believe it. I feel like we say it all the time. Like, I can't believe that this just started as like an idea in Nashville, and now we're a year into this. It's like
what were we even doing in Nashville when we started talking about
it? We were in our living room Airbnb, and
I remember being in the living room, but were we just like
we were just talking about podcasting and stuff, and like, we were both just talking about how like we haven't been consistent and how it's like so hard to only talk about social media, and like
classic conversation that
I'm like, I haven't posted an episode in months, and you were like, literally same. I took a break, and then you said it. You were like, well, wait, this might be like crazy, and like you can say no, like how you always do. Like, if this is like something you don't want to do at all, like feel free to like tell me to fuck off.
Every text I send you still starts like that.
Like, if you literally hate everything and like want me to die, it's fine.
Wait, this is so funny because if you had said no in that moment, what would I would have left. Hold on, I'm crying thinking about it because like how embarrassing. Like, love that for me to shoot that shot, but like, what if you said no? What if you were like, no, I'm actually okay. I'm just gonna start my own. I mean, I would have still supported it, but like, I probably would have been a really sad night. Tootsies would have been awkward.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. But I was thinking the same thing in my head. I'm just like, I know you've been doing it. At that point, I only had like 8 episodes or something. It wasn't crazy. But you have been doing it for like over a year at that point, I'm pretty sure. And had so many episodes and guests. And I was like, she's never going to want to like do something together. I'm like, she's so successful on her own. I'm like, so I didn't say it. I didn't want to say it, but I was like thinking it. And then you literally said what I was thinking in my head. And I was like, I literally remember being like, I was literally thinking that, but I didn't want to say it first.
So ballsy. Like, seriously, you said no, I don't.
And that was the first time we like met in person too.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, that was so fucking ballsy of me to ask you that, I feel like.
When you know, you know.
No, literally. Like, I needed you.
I know. It was, I think it was just meant to be and happen that way and work out that way, because I was like literally gonna stop my podcast because I just
same.
I was like so sick of just doing what I was doing. And
I remember at that point wanting to start a different podcast about like the specific reality shows that I was watching. Oh no, I'm about to knock this blanket down. Because I was like, there's nobody else talking about these specific shows. The podcast about the other shows on the same network do really well. Like, I love this shit. And I remember like being like, you know, if stuff with this like doesn't work out, I guess I could try that. And then I like remember being like, well, wait, why would I pigeonhole myself into one topic like that.
Yeah.
And then also, why would I not ask you to do something together?
No, that was like I was like,
It's
"Thank
like
God she
fate.
said something," because it was exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, "Oh my god, it would be so fun." Even before that, I think, like,
Mhm.
the day before, I was like, "Oh my god, it'd be so fun if we had, like, something together." Because I think we were talking about content and stuff, and I don't know. I don't remember, like, specifically, but
Wait,
I did
so
think that.
why am I don't know if this is, like, traumatic memory loss or, like, if I just truly I don't know, I don't remember, but why did we already plan to have gone to the podcast studio when we were there if we didn't come up with that idea until we were already
Oh,
there?
because you were messaging with her, and she was like, "I'm gonna be there that weekend, you should stop by." And you were like, "Oh, I" 'cause I remember when we
Oh,
first got
okay,
there, you
okay,
were like,
okay,
"Do you
I
guys care if we
remember.
just go on, like, the 3rd day and, like, stop by and see it?" 'Cause I
We
think
were just
you
going
honestly
to
were
see
looking
yeah.
for a place to maybe, like, do stuff
Mhm.
at or whatever, and yeah, at that point is when I think it was, like, day before or that same day where we were like, "We need to just do this together," and then we
That's
went
so
there.
funny.
I do wish that worked out because I think that would've been
I
a lot of
know.
fun,
I
but
still think it would. I think she's just, like, horrible at answering her phone. Like, I think if I were to text her, like, 2 or 3 more times, maybe she'd answer.
I know, like, oh my god, but,
But
like
I just, like, can't bring myself and she even told
no.
me that. She was like, "I'm so bad at answering my phone, like, literally just blow my phone up until I answer, but, like, I feel so bad doing that that, like, I just can't bring myself to do it."
Yeah, no, me either, and you called, I'm pretty sure.
We did call. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So it's
so
kinda like,
mhm.
can only do so much for you to take our money.
No, literally.
What do
And
I
we
have to
wait, didn't
do?
we even put an inquiry in on the website?
Yes, and nobody reached out, and I'm like,
Under
"This is
your
the"
name.
I'm like,
That's so
"Okay,
funny.
well, if it's not
Guess
meant
it
to
wasn't
be."
meant to be. I actually low key really think it was meant to be. I think she's just horrible at answering her phone.
Yeah, yep.
Like, maybe we just show up.
I know, we just show up again. "Hello,
No, literally.
we can go show up on my batch."
Yeah. With everybody. We're all
Yeah,
here.
why not? Anybody wanna do a full episode on my batch? Say one thing
Interview
you like
everybody
about
like
me.
Jersey Shore style.
Literally, just pass the mic around. Oh my god,
Uh,
yeah, like what are they called when they do,
the
like, the little
confessionals.
yeah, the confessionals, a
Mhm.
confessional episode on Socially Unfiltered.
And it's crazy that it's been like that all happened in May, but then we started recording and getting everything together throughout the month of June and
Mhm,
then officially launched in July. So I feel like to us, we feel like 2 or 3 months older than like our
mhm,
launch date, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like it's crazy that it's been a year, but it also feels like it's been so much longer than a year, but it
mhm.
also feels so much shorter than a year. I don't know, it's so weird. But
Also
yeah,
just
that
so proud of us that we
I know.
pulled together 5 episodes and
Launched the
launched
whole
all 5
podcast
episodes, yeah, in
month.
1 day. We literally
No,
put out
literally.
5 episodes and, like, planned all of that, and it only took us, like, a month and a half to do all of that, which is
Mhm.
insane to think
Yeah.
about. Like, it was a lot of work.
Mhm. And I mean, even in the like, we launched with, like, bare bones. Like,
Mhm,
we did not have nearly anything together, and a lot of it was just figuring out as we were going, like, little things like, "Oh, how are we closing out episodes? What are we putting in the episode descriptions? Like, are we linking everything or are we going to just leave it like one quick paragraph? Like, what are we doing for all of
mhm,
these little things?" And it was when we launched, it was like literally we had these episodes and like a dream, and that was it.
literally.
And now we have so many more things just put together, but it's taken like, I mean, even now, like we're still figuring out a lot of that stuff
Mhm.
and, like, refreshing a lot of it. So it's crazy that we did as much as we did in a month, but I also don't wanna make it sound like it was everything came together in a month because it was
No.
certainly not that.
No, we just were focused on putting episodes out and just starting
Mhm.
this thing and literally figuring it out after
Yeah.
that, and literally advice to anybody that wants to do it, just start
Mhm.
and figure it out along the way because you will, and you'll go through, like, your trial and errors of everything, and like we talked about in our last episode of, like, starting a podcast, what you need, like, we just went off of what we did on our own podcasts and
Mhm.
saw what worked, what didn't work for us. But I feel like if we really waited till we were ready, we'd be waiting forever. And it would take us until now to, launch
Mhm.
everything because if we wanted like the structure and the intro and everything else that we have done, the merch and like texting
Mhm.
platform that we have put out, like if we were waiting to do all of those things, it would have taken us forever to actually
Mhm.
put out our episodes and what we want to say.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's something that, like, I struggle a lot with. I'm sure I've said something
Mhm.
about it on here. Like, when I do something, like, I want not that everything needs to be perfect, but, like, I need to know everything that's about to happen. I want to know, like, every little detail before I feel prepared to do something. And this entire podcast literally had to, like, push me out of that because I can't one make you like get hung up on stuff that I want to get hung up on when and not saying that you don't also care about that. I just don't know how much personally you struggled with it before. Like I know for me it was like a huge push out of my comfort zone to like commit to doing something with somebody else because I knew that it wasn't just going to be me making the decisions on everything and it really took like a huge jump again out of my comfort zone to be like, okay, we have to just
Mhm.
like go. Like you can't
Yeah.
just sit and wait and oh next week and oh we'll
Yeah.
get this together and then it'll be good. Like I don't think we even had like highlights when we first made our Instagram. You know what I mean? And stuff like that or like I would get hung up on that for myself, which is why I never like fully executed an Instagram for my podcast or really ever even posted about it because I was like, well, I feel weird only posting about it once a week and then collaborating it with this other Instagram account that I don't promote at all. Like it was just
Mm.
so many decisions on your own that like it took me doing something with somebody else to be like, okay, speed it up. Like,
Yeah.
not that you make me do that, but for me, it's like, okay, I can't be the reason that this shit doesn't launch for 6 months. Like, that's
Yeah.
insane, you know? So,
Yeah, it's like an
thank you for
accountability
doing that,
thing.
even if it wasn't on purpose.
Yeah, it keeps you accountable and, like,
Mhm,
makes it exciting to do things together and put things out because 'cause you're, like,
mhm,
not relying on the other person, but you're, like, in it together so you know that,
mhm,
"Oh, I can't screw this up. I don't want to, like, let the podcast down or, like, let my
mhm,
best friend down," because
mhm,
like, we grew so much over the year, but we've also become so, so close and become
mhm,
such close best friends throughout all of this too, and I think people can either grow apart or grow together, and
mhm,
it's hard because when you're going into something like we just talked about a podcast that you listened to that
mhm,
they didn't even know each other before they started their podcast, and there's so many like that, but I feel like you either grow apart, grow together,
mhm,
and it's, like, a
mhm,
very prominent the episodes that people listen to and when they get to know you, like, are they actually
mhm.
friends or are they just, like, doing this for the podcast,
Right.
like, whatever, and I think it's important to do it with somebody who isn't 100% like you, like, we are so similar, but the
Mhm,
ways that we work are very different, like, you're very type A, I'm, like, type B, like, I will go with the flow, I can just literally not have a plan, and I can figure it out, and that does not
mhm.
stress me out whatsoever, like, I don't have
You're
any
also very organized and put together though, like, I don't wanna make it sound like you're not, but you are very, like, I panic when something changes last minute, like, it just, like, is who I am, and I feel like you're so much more like, "Mm, whatever, like, we'll figure it
Yeah,
out, it'll
like,
always like,
okay,
we'll get to it." Yeah, and I'm like,
nothing
like,
matters.
freaking out. Like, the
Mhm.
Google Doc feature added a new fucking drop down thing, and I'm like, "I have to go update the doc literally right this second." And you're like, "Wow, a new Google Doc feature."
I'm like, "It's amazing."
I love that for you, sweetie. Like, but
That's
it's like,
amazing.
I feel like I need to even in my, like, relationship with Ethan, like, he's 100% that person, and I'm just so,
Mhm.
like, lists and spreadsheets, and you're so organized and you're put together, and it's not like you're not any of these things, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm not chaos, I just feel like I'm not, like,
you're
super structured, I guess?
like, if
Um,
I need every, like, word written out, I need, like, to-do list and, like, checklist on every little thing that are so unnecessary that, like, other people just can function without those, but, like, my brain
mhm.
needs to see so much of it that I really do think it's helped because that overwhelms me, like, the way that my brain needs to do all of these things, like, it is very overwhelming sometimes, It's
Mhm.
fun to me, but it's also like, I wish I could just be more like, go with the flow. I'm not.
Yeah. I do like to know a plan, like, I enjoy
Yeah,
a
for
plan and I
sure.
appreciate a plan, like, if you put out an itinerary in front of me and you're like, "We're doing this, this, and this," I'd be like, "Amazing, love that," and
You
it's not.
appreciate it, that's the thing. If you were like, "Fuck a
Yes.
plan, like, we don't need
No.
organization," that would be one thing, but you're so like, "I'm here
Yeah.
and I'm ready to implement all of these
Yeah,
things."
I can implement. I think that is
Yes.
my, like, trait is I can take it and implement,
Mhm,
but I think the foundations are hard for me sometimes.
mhm,
But it's, like, your strengths and your weaknesses, and that's
for
why I
sure.
like getting into like, I feel like if I was also type A like that, it would be a little bit hard for us to be more laxed in some things
Mhm,
or, like, open to change. Like, if we
mhm,
were both the same, I think it would be hard to figure out the roles of, like,
for sure.
the structures and the, like, organization aspect of it. Like, I feel like it is such a good system that we have because we are
Mhm,
different in that way,
yes.
that if you are the same in that way, you might, like, butt heads a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, I literally feel like the different things that each of us do specifically for the podcast, like, it literally fits together like a literal puzzle piece sometimes.
Mhm.
Even us, like, in our friendship, I'm like,
Yeah.
it carries over into that too. I'm like, I literally feel like we are like yin and yang. Like,
Yes.
it just fits together so perfectly with everything that we do with that. So, thanks for always going along with 90% of my
I know.
type
Every text
A-ness.
that Lex sends me, she's like, "If you hate this, like, just let me know." I'm like, "I won't though," like,
'Cause
'cause
I
I
just
just
always yeah, I just always want it to be known that I'm not,
yeah.
like, being like, "This is what we're doing." I just am like, "Hey, put this together.
Mhm.
If you like it, let me know, and if you don't, we don't have
And
to use it." It's just
100% of the
fun for me to
time, I do.
I know there's literally been, like, 2 times where you're like, maybe we could change this," and I'm like, "I hope, like, you aren't just, like, going along with it because you don't wanna say that," but then I'm like, "No, she would literally never not tell me how she felt
No,
about something," and that's
I
like,
wouldn't.
you
That's one thing
have
about me is I cannot
yes.
shut the fuck up if I
You
have an
don't
opinion.
hide emotions well, which,
No.
like, is so not, like, in a way where it's a bad thing, like, you're not scared to be like, "Hey, I don't like that," and I think
Yeah,
if you were not like that, it would be, like, a little, like,
yeah.
scarier for me to think, like, "Oh my god, does she just, like, go along with everything I say because she doesn't wanna, like, fight me on it?"
No, I'm not really,
Like,
like,
"No,
a
she'd
people
fight me on
pleaser.
it."
I'm definitely not a people pleaser, that's
No.
um not one of my traits, so I'm
Mm-mm.
not afraid to be like, "No, I don't like that," or like, "No, you can't fucking talk to me that way." Like, I
Mhm.
will call everything out that I
Yep.
think in, like, a right way, not just, like, being mean about anything
No.
or, like, being bitchy and calling people out. It's just,
No.
like, I don't
You
really
let
put
your
up with
feelings
shit,
be
and I
known.
can't hide my emotions. My emotions would give it away anyway, so that's why I get Botox.
It's so funny. Sometimes I'm like, she's not like that." Or like someone will say something and literally just see your response already coming on your face.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, "Are you about to say what I think you're gonna say?"
It's literally one of my favorite things about you though. 'Cause I oh,
Yeah.
thumbs up. We
Uh,
still have yet that's something a year into this podcast we have not figured out yet is where those
yeah,
things come from, how we control them. Like, I think it's something directly through Apple, like, through our
it
computer, like,
must be.
because it happened on Riverside too.
For those that are not watching this,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
we always get these, like, thumbs up bubbles or thumbs down bubbles when we're talking, and I'm like, What did I say that prompted that?" But I think maybe they just, like, are supportive, like,
But
just being
that's the thing, because like, you would think it's like, "Oh, well, I'm doing a thumbs up right now, so it would do" oh, it did it.
Oh,
But it's literally never done that before, I swear.
oh, oh, we
Oh,
didn't
but
do
we've
that
never
when it
d
first
I've
launched.
never been like, "Yay." Like, I guess maybe like a hand position or something, but, like, I feel like it takes a lot of effort to make it happen.
Why is it not
So,
doing it
I'm
now?
gonna take that as, like, that's our guides always giving us little signs for what we're talking about.
11:11.
See?
Yes, I agree.
even, like, in, like, the woo-woo side of me, I'm like, I literally feel sometimes like we were, like, little stardust pieces
No,
together, like, somewhere
I
else.
agree. Well, like, we talk about all the time how I feel like we live the same life, but, like,
Yeah,
just
it's
different parts.
parallel to each other.
It's so weird, like, we had very similar instances in our life, and I feel like I was, like, there with you, but not. It's so weird, like,
Literally.
it's weird.
It is very strange. And even like now, like client stuff is
Mhm.
always very similar. You had somebody literally yesterday reach out to you asking about a specific type of package. I had somebody reach out to me today
Yeah.
asking about a specific type of package. Like that's just what the first example that's coming to my head. But like
Mhm.
literally, so we should like start keeping track of them better because it is
Honestly,
weird.
it's really weird, and I feel
It's
like
like
us coming together in Nashville, like, strengthened it even more.
yeah.
Like, whenever me and Lex are together, and if you're not spiritual, that's, like, fine, but I feel like when we're together, it's, like, crazy the shit that happens to us, or, like, when we're to even when we're not together, though, and, like,
Mhm.
we just see things at the same time, or we, like,
Yeah,
experience things at the same time, and it's weird.
it's
I
so
think that
weird.
some people are just connected in that way, and whether
Mhm.
you believe that or not, like, whether we're delusional, fine, but
No,
probably are a
literally. I'm
little bit.
like, do we kinda sound like we're in spiritual psychosis? Like,
That's
somebody's
fine.
gonna do a
Imma
welfare
stay
check
right
on us.
here.
It's
I'm
like
gonna
no, but
stay
they're
right
like
here.
tangible examples. Like, I really wish we
Mhm.
started keeping better track of them, but from now on, I'm gonna literally keep a running notes of weird things that happen to us at the same time or, like, coincidences that happen at the
Mhm.
same time, and we'll start to share them because I do think they're very strange, and it's more than I think we realize, so
It's actually crazy. I'll never get over the Wendy's thing, like, that was so
oh.
crazy. Our angel numbers are 444. Well, we
Mhm.
noticed, like, both of ours, like, together. Yours
Mhm.
was, and then it started being 11s, and
Yeah,
then
it weirdly
all of
went
a sudden,
away.
for me, it
Mhm.
started being 4s, and then you started seeing 4s again, but
Mhm.
we're, like, driving in the car, and this is, like, nothing to do with our episode right now. This is just another instance that I think is so weird, like, what are the
Mhm.
odds? We're driving in Lex's car, and she's, like, showing me around her town, whatever, and I look over, and I'm like, "Wendy's," and I go, "4, 4," and I'm, like, looking to the left, and then she goes, "Oh my god, look," and I, like, turn my head, the license plate in front of us says 444. Like, it was just so, and I didn't see that, like, they just pulled in front of us as I was
Mhm.
looking at the Wendy's, and I was like, "What the like, that
Like,
is
I was
weird."
looking at the license plate as you said it, and I was like, "Oh, she saw the license plate too." And I was like, "Oh my god, no, you just read the Wendy's sign." Which again, like, I feel like in a way well, it's 11:14 right now, so I like that too, but, like, I know this, like, can sound super delusional, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like, you start thinking about red cars, so you start, like,
Yeah, yeah.
noticing red cars. But when you actually put, like, the statistics together of what are the odds that we were driving somewhere on a huge, busy 4-lane road passing
Mhm.
hundreds of restaurants. And at that exact moment,
Thousands
I'm
of
looking
cars.
at a license plate that said 444 and you're reading a sign that said 444. Like
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
just
so weird.
weird. And it was like instant. It was so weird.
It was so weird. I was like, "Whoa, this
Yeah.
is crazy."
It was just weird. Like that. I just don't think coincidences are very coincidental anymore. I think they're very like
Mhm.
planned. And I think we were meant to be in that spot in front of that Wendy's at that moment.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, so that's cute. Love those little moments of
Little thing about us.
validation for us. Yeah.
Mhm. Checking our Anchor because I kinda wanna see what our I haven't looked at our stats. Most played episode, Dark Side of Nickelodeon at 2,464 plays.
Crazy.
Crazy. In our first year, yeah. It's like
Mhm.
people may not
I
look at
know.
that and be like, "Oh, that's not that much," but, like, as a first-time podcast and just, like,
No, I
taking a
l
chance on it, like, that's really good. Thank you
yeah.
for being here.
Yeah,
If you're
literally, thank you
new,
for being here. We would I don't wanna say we wouldn't do this without you because we probably would still do
yeah,
this even if nobody
we
listened,
do
but
this for
thank you
one
for
person, we do
listening.
this for no people,
Yeah,
we do it for
we
ourselves.
would do it for ourselves. That's we were talking for literally 45 minutes. I was like, "Oh, I kind of forgot we weren't just, like, hanging out."
And there's
before we
people, like
started recording.
I know, and there's people in the UK listening to us, like 69% England, 24% Scotland,
Oh my
6%
god.
Wales. And now we have more Apple listeners too. Before it was, like, all Spotify.
Spotify.
Now it's 18% Apple, 70% Spotify, and 10% web browser.
What an
Very
interesting I mean, I'm one of those people that still listens to podcasts via Apple Podcasts. I know that's, like, an
Also, most of
unpopular
our listeners are in
take.
California. Crazy.
That's wild.
All our Californians. LA, 14%.
Maybe we should go out there.
Okay.
Here we come, California.
And 4% of our listeners are in Canada, 62% in Alberta, 15 in Ontario. That's cool. I think we just did a lot in our first year as not even just a podcast. Like we came up with
Mhm.
our social media management business blueprint for social media managers. We
Mhm.
launched merch. We launched a texting line that you can get into. Everything is in our show notes.
Mhm.
And we're working on a few other things. I mean, we had our in-person brand shoot and have
Yeah, we
recorded
did
in
so much.
person. We have done a lot and I'm super proud of us. And we have a lot of other goals that we're always working towards. And just appreciating where we are now too, though, I think is important. Like
Mhm.
we've done a lot. We've
Yeah.
done the work and we are allowed to, take a little break or just chill and then go back to like other things because I know we're both the same way where it's like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Let's work on the next thing. And we
Mhm.
have to appreciate like what we have already done. So I think like that's one of the lessons I feel like we've both learned
Mhm. For
from
sure.
each other and from this podcast is like reaping the benefits of your labor of what you have done and pausing a little bit and just being like, okay, we've done a lot. It's okay to just, put out episodes and not always be working on something
Mhm.
and like exhausting I don't know,
Selves.
ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very hard, to stay in one place for a while. I don't wanna say a long time because I do think there's too long to stay in the same place before you're like, "Okay, what are we doing?" Not that
Mhm.
we've ever done that, but it was definitely a learning moment for me to be like, "Okay, we don't always have to, like, be working on something or have something new coming." I mean, we do and always have, like, things in the works or in talks, but yeah, it was very stressful for me, especially like I thought you were gonna like hate me when I was like, "Oh my god, like I can't like work on anything else right now. Like I just have too much going on with everything." And you're like, "Dude, it's okay." And I'm like, "Are you sure? Like I'm so sorry." Like I felt so bad.
No,
So
like
that was a
you
lesson
deserve
that like
that.
I had to learn just being okay of where you are and it's not always about the next thing and what else is coming.
Yeah.
As I just got done being like, we have so much more coming. We just always
Me
have,
too.
like,
It's
so
not
many plans and
Yeah.
dreams, and it's not like we're actively working on something every minute of the day,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah.
always things on our
It's not a
list.
bad thing to like want more for yourself and
Mhm,
want to do more and like elevate. It's just like not getting ahead of yourself of like, okay, we did that, now it's done. Like on to the next thing. Like it's appreciating everything that you have done and all the work that you put in because it takes a lot. Like it's a lot of work to build something from scratch and to show up every single week and
mhm,
have topics to talk about. It's a lot of work, just the podcast itself. So we don't always have to be like going, going, going and working on the next thing. And it is okay to take a
mhm.
pause. And when you said that, I was like, no, I want to too. Like, I want to
Yeah.
chill. Like, I'm good. Like, because
You're like,
it's
"I'm
not
trying
like
to enjoy
we
my summer
aren't,
too." I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay,
it's not
great."
like we're not growing either. Like,
No, we're still,
every
like,
single day
actively
we
yeah.
are. We're doing things every single day, even if we're not actively working on something, even if something's
Mhm,
not launching. Like, you have to appreciate that you are still showing up every single week,
mhm,
and, like, that's a win, and our episodes are still going out, and our audience is growing, and
mhm.
we're providing a lot of value and entertainment, hopefully, and, like, just an outlet, and I think that
Mhm.
that's an amazing thing that we have done in a
Yeah.
year, and we've come a long way, I think,
Mhm.
in
Yeah,
that.
that was definitely a huge thing to have to learn, and then something that I don't know if it's, like, technically a lesson, but it's definitely something that, like, I don't exactly know what to call it. So, basically, like, when all of this stuff was happening with my sister and everything a few months ago, like, there were so many things that when I came back to, like, my regular everyday life and, like, had to, like, start getting back into my normal routines and stuff, like, there are so many things, there are so many, I don't necessarily wanna say, like, people, but there's just so many things that after that day, like, my feelings about completely changed. Like, there are things that, like, there are plans I had that I completely abandoned because, like, it just, I had to look at it in the way that, like, does this really matter to me? I promise I'm going
Mhm.
somewhere with this, but, like, coming back from all of that, like, the only thing I wanted to do was record our podcast. Like, I
Mhm.
wanted to do it weeks before, and then it just, like, logistically was not a smart idea, and, like, I also think I was a little bit in, like, a not, like,
Yeah.
manic episode, but I was just like, "Okay, let's go." Like, I have to do something that's, like, in my regular everyday life, but for it to be this, that, like, was one of the things that did not, like, get on my chopping list, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it was really nice, like, just to come back and be like, "Oh my god, this is something that, like, I really love doing." Like, I don't feel pressured to do this. This isn't something I feel like we're forced to do. Like,
Mhm.
coming out of all of that and being able to, like, really look at the things that I want to, like, put my time and my energy and effort into, and this being one of them, like,
Yeah.
really just not that I was questioning it before, but, like, it really just, like, solidified, like,
Yeah.
okay, this definitely is something that I love more than a lot of other things that I was putting more effort into, if that makes sense. Not that I feel like I
Mhm.
wasn't putting effort into this. I don't know. Hopefully any of that makes sense. But it was just a very nice lesson, I guess, to learn that, like, this is, like, top priority in my life, and I love
Mhm.
that because, like you said before, like, there's times where people start to not get along over time and start to not,
Mhm.
vibe on their podcast the way that they used to, and that's very, like, evident for the people that listen to it,
Yeah.
and I just love that that situation didn't make me be like, "Oh my god, I actually hate this podcast." Like, it
Yeah.
was just nice validation.
I
Again, not
would
that it was
take myself
before,
out.
but it's nice to know that this is, like, top 5 priorities in my
Oh,
life.
yeah. 100%. It's, like, something I look forward to doing every
Yes.
single week, and, like,
Mhm,
getting to talk to you at the same time, I'm like, "Oh, we're putting out content for people and, like,
mhm.
value for people, but we're also getting to, like, catch up as, like, best friends,"
Right.
and I think that's, like, so special and fun, and
Mhm.
I agree, it's not something that we feel like we have to do or, like, "Oh my god, we have to get on and record." It's, like, not like that at all.
Right. Like, I enjoy
I
doing it, and it's something
Mhm.
that I look forward to, and it wasn't something that, like, there were various, few things that when I was coming back to my regular everyday life, I was like, "Oh my god, like, I cannot believe I have to do that." Like, I just don't have the mental
Yeah.
capacity for that. Like, this was one thing that, like, again, not that something I questioned or struggled with before, but the validation of just like, "Okay, I still really like to do this, and I looked forward
Mhm.
to it." Coming back to it was so nice to just, like, experience, I guess.
Yeah. You have to, like, enjoy what you're doing, especially as a podcast, because you do have to show up. Like,
Mhm.
content, I feel like, is one thing, but showing up to, like, your podcast is another, and the fact that we both enjoy doing this and it is an outlet for us and it's, like, a
Mhm.
break from our actual jobs, and
Yeah.
we can, like, disassociate from just being social media managers all the
Mhm.
time and kinda, like, discovering ourselves and what we love to talk about and, like, our
Mhm.
other passions, I think it's important too, and, like, what we are doing is important, even though sometimes it's just like, "Oh, we're just talking about pop culture and, like,
Right.
whatever, entrepreneurship," but, like, there are people that need to hear these things and, like, that can either learn from us or relate to us. Because I know I didn't have, like, any kind of podcast like that when I was, like, kinda starting everything in
Mhm.
social media management or just, like, being a business owner. I'm like, "No one's really, like, talking about it in a chill way. Everything's so serious." Like, everything has to be so serious.
It's not even when we do talk about social media stuff, like, I don't hate it. Like, I've never been like, "Ugh, I don't wanna do an episode about this." Like, this really is the only, like, platform and outlet that I do enjoy talking about a lot of that
Yeah,
stuff on. So I don't
same.
want it to sound like we do that to, like, find stuff that isn't about social media because we do it all day. Like, yes, we say that, we talk about that, but this really is one of, like, the only places I enjoy talking about social media stuff, so it's nice to have that.
Yeah, same.
I'm glad
And
that
in
it's
the
with you.
Me too. And in the spirit of celebrating our anniversary, we are doing a giveaway. Our
Yay!
first ever giveaway.
Mhm.
So, we will be giving away a piece of merch of your choosing, whether it's a sweatshirt or a tote bag. And our giveaway is posted to our Instagram at socially unfiltered pod. So go follow us there. If you don't, go enter into the giveaway. And we will also, for the first time, and one of the only times we will be doing this, is offering 20% off the social media management business blueprint. So if you've been wanting to get into social media management and not sure where to look, where to start, we are also doing 20% off of that you can find in our show notes and in our Instagram as well.
What better way to celebrate our 1 year? So thank you
Yes.
for being here with us, and make sure you go to our Instagram to check out the official entry for the giveaway.
We love you.
Love you guys so much. Thank you for being here with us for 1 whole year.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for hanging. If you aren't sick of us yet, jump over to the Socially Unfiltered Pod Instagram.
Check out the social media manager blueprint,
And everything else you'll need can be found in the show notes.
and we'll see you next Monday.